Good morning, everyone. I have a new feature for you today. This is for AgencyPro subscribers. If you jump over to Agency CRM, there is a totally new section down here called Workspace Defaults. And this has been a big request, and I'm so happy to bring it to you. This is especially useful for the SaaS people out there who are reselling. But it's also super helpful for you guys that are doing agency services. Basically, this is going to open up the floodgates for future development for us. But the first two workspace defaults we have are allowing you, for every new workspace that somebody purchased from you, that you provision manually, any new workspace from this point forward will have custom categories if you want, and a custom schedule if you want. So a lot of you don't like the default schedule that we have, and I'm talking about the queue schedule, that weekly schedule that determines when posts go out. And a lot of you also have custom categories. You don't like the default ones that we have. Maybe you've had other queue categories in other platforms for years, and you're basically stuck changing them every time somebody signs up for one of your pricing plans. Well, now it will automatically provision the accounts just the way you want them. Let me show you how it works. I'm going to turn on the Use Custom Categories, and you'll notice that this is our default custom categories. You are now able to create a brand new category, and if you create a new category here, it's going to show up for every new client that signs up. So you don't need to manually add that category. If you edit a category like tips, you can now change this to something, let's say, industry specific. This is a huge use case for this. So let's say that you've chosen to really go after the real estate industry. You literally might change this to real estate tips as a category name. Now they're going to feel like, wow, these guys they've really built a platform and a solution just for me. So think in terms of what can you do with this to make it feel just that much more like it's a custom-made application just for their needs. And you can choose whatever color you want, choose the optimized send times for whatever you want. Obviously, you'd want to choose either clicks or sales or leads like we have as standard packages for every single client. Most of these are going to be optimized for clicks. Now it's changed it to real estate tips, and it changed the color. You can also, so not only can you change the name, it's so great that you can change that color. So I know a lot of you have like certain color codes, at least one of you actually I should say, has certain color codes that you use for the packages that you sell, and you've got custom names, like you don't call them engagement, you might call them something slightly different. Now you can do that, but here's another thing you can do. Let's say you do not do holidays at all. You can actually remove that. So you can make it a lot more customized so when they log in, they aren't overwhelmed with different categories that they simply will not use. They can still add them. This is just setting a default. But if there are certain ones that you always cringe when you see it because it just literally doesn't apply to the vertical that you've chosen to go after, like, realtors, there might be certain things that you don't want them to see. Like maybe you just don't think they should be blogging, so you remove this. So it's just a more streamlined list of categories. So that's how this one works. And the custom schedule, this is the really exciting one. If you edit the custom schedule, this is going to look just like it does in our weekly schedule in the publish area. But what's cool about this one is when you make a change here, you're making this change to all future workspaces. They'll still be able to manually change it as always, but at least now you're not having to go in to change their default every time a new workspace is spun up for them. So like for example, let's click on this, and if you want to change which default social networks it goes to, anything you want to change, you can even delete it. So let's say you do not feel like for your vertical that you're going after, you don't recommend that they post on weekends. You can remove that. And we even left this bulk copy mode. So you're going to be able to very quickly add any custom categories that you create, and it will automatically copy those to additional places. And then when you're done, just click here and it will be there. So spend some time on this. Really review what we have as a default. Look at it through the lens of your customer, think about your avatar at this point. What schedule would make the most sense for them? Is this a really high volume vertical where if they don't send 5 or 6 posts a day, they're going to get totally ignored? Or is this, a more professional vertical where they only need to post once a day? So also think in terms of your pricing plans. If your pricing plans tend to be on the lower volume scale, you might want to remove a couple of the daily posts and only have 1 or 2. That way, all of the posts are going out at a more reasonable time, and all of the content that you kind of load into the queue that is set for queue posting versus specific scheduled times. Maybe all of that stuff is getting gobbled up in the first day when it's supposed to go out for 4 days because, these default schedules have multiple posts per day. So that's just something else you should consider. Again, look at it through the lens of your avatar and your particular business model. And enjoy. I hope you guys create some really great defaults. Make this software your own. We will be adding more defaults to make your life easier and allow you to further customize how your software works for your particular avatar. That is it, guys. Enjoy.